good with everybody. First of all, I want to thank you all for joining us today. I am Jordan with Live School, and with us today we have the amazing Mr. Jason Malaschak, the assistant principal of Piper Creek Elementary, and also the district data coordinator, correct? Did I get that
That's
right?
right. That's right.
For the Piper School District. So he is the man of the hour, and I'm going to hand it over to him in one quick second. Before we start, I just wanted to go through a few quick housekeeping items. Just so you all know, this will be recorded. I know you were all very busy, so if for some reason you get pulled away, you have to step out. If there's a colleague that couldn't make it, we will be sending out this recording later today. Once the event is over, you can also find it on our website or on YouTube as well. So today we have a 30-minute webinar, and what you can expect is a look into the implementation of Live School and this PBIS program at Piper Elementary. So we're going to start with transitioning from a paper-based or the gold that was used at Piper Creek to a digital system. He will walk you through implementation, how to get teacher buy-in, student buy-in, all that good stuff. Some of the incredible rewards, if you have not seen that they implement at Piper Creek, you're in for a treat. The results that they've seen from this implementation, and then we will leave about 5 to 10 minutes at the end for any questions you may have. Along the way, if you do have questions, feel free to go ahead and drop them in the chat. I will be manning the chat. If I can answer them, I definitely will. And if not, I will be sure that they find their way to Jason. If not, you can just hang on to it until the end, and we will get to that for you. So without further ado, Jason, I am going to turn it over to you.
All right. Well, hey, thank you very much, Jordan. And hey, welcome everybody. My name is Jason Malaschak, assistant principal at Piper Creek Elementary. As you can see on the screen, we are a grades 3 through 5 building. We have about 620 students, so all of our 3rd through 5th graders in our district come to our building. We have 25 classroom teachers, and then on top of that, we have 6 specialist teachers, and then a number of special education and ESOL and paras, and we have a lot of adults in the building. About 72, I think, is what we have in the building right now. But we are in Kansas City, Kansas. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning here, so just hey, nice to see everybody, and hopefully we can learn a little bit something about Live School and how we implemented it here. And so I just want to kind of tell you our story. I come from a background of mathematics. I was for 14 years a high school mathematics teacher. So when you hear me talking about my love of data and my love of numbers, there's a reason for that. That's what my schooling is in. That's what my background is in. My background is in math education. So what I want to tell you is that we started we have Piper Gold. We came from a Piper Gold situation because we wanted to make sure that we were doing positive behavior enforcement in our schools. I was originally at the K through 2 building here when we started this journey. And so we started out by just handing out paper gold for everybody. We wanted to be positive or specific praise. We want to give behavior specific praise is what we refer to it as, because we want to make sure that, hey, every time a student got gold, they knew the reason why they got the gold. Okay, and that was to reinforce their positive behaviors. We didn't want to have kids do it because of the gold, but we wanted to make sure that we were acknowledging the fact that, hey, I like how you did this in the hallway. I liked how you picked up the trash. I liked how you helped a friend. Here's why you're getting the gold. So we were handing out gold like candy. I mean, it was great. And so we had paper gold. It looks very similar to this. You see that cute little pirate on there. We put our little logo on there, and we printed this off in yellow, and so it looked like gold, and we cut them all out, and it was great. People were handing out gold like candy. It was awesome. We had so much behavior praise going on. So then came the question, well, wait a minute. What if we wanted to know how much gold is everybody getting? Which students are getting the gold? Because we started kind of coming up with a hypothesis of, wait a minute, we know that our students who I never see in the office are getting all sorts of praise, but what about the students who I am seeing in the office quite a bit as the assistant principal, as the person who does discipline? How much positive gold are they getting? Are they getting positive praise to help them realize the positive things that they should be doing in school? So that's where my data kind of kicked in. And so I was like, we need to start keeping track of how to do this. And so we came up with version 1. Version 1 was to take these little things right here and, hey, we have an idea. At the end of the year, hey, all the students write your name on your gold, and you're going to turn in your teacher, and teacher, you're going to turn in all that gold to the counselor, because our counselor is like, well, I'll just tabulate them all. I'll count them all up and let you know. Yeah, that worked really, really well when her room was full of buckets of literally giant, those 5-gallon buckets. I think she had 6 or 7 of them in a room just full of paper gold. There was paper gold all over her room. And so we talk about, there is no way that I'm going to allow you to spend hours counting up. No, 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 no. This is going to take you weeks to do. This is ridiculous. We can't do this. So next year, version 2.0. I got it. I'm a tech person. I can figure this out. We're going to make a Google form. Every time, teacher, you hand out Piper Gold, you are going to write it. You're going to fill out this Google form. You put the student name. You're going to select your name from the drop-down menu. Then you're going to tell me if it was for respectful, responsible, or safe. And then tell me whether it was, then tell me the location. Tell me what was in the classroom, the hallway, the restroom, or so on. Okay, sounds great, right? That lasted about a week. And then it became, I mean, it was so time consuming for kids to do. Now, the 3rd grade teachers, because we did have a few 3rd grade in our building at the time, they just had a Chromebook open and were allowing the kids to fill out the form, which worked out really well until kids found out that they could just log in and give themselves gold. And then we started seeing on the spreadsheet, all these kids logged in and give themselves 100 pieces of gold. Like, okay, this is ridiculous. We got to stop this. And then the worst thing happened. It became such a time-consuming, not manageable process that teachers stopped handing out gold. And so now it was doing the opposite. Because we wanted to keep track of the data, it was actually doing the opposite of what our intention was. And now all of a sudden, the behavior-specific praise wasn't even happening in our school, because teachers wouldn't fill out the form because it was too time-consuming, and so therefore they stopped handing out gold. And so it's like, okay, this is a nightmare. We got to fix this. So then became version 3.0. Version 3.0 the next year was, okay, teachers, I'm just going to give you a piece of paper on a clipboard, okay? And every time you get gold, you're just going to tally them up. And then at the end of the month, you're going to put this into a spreadsheet. And I made the most beautiful, colorful, elaborate spreadsheet. It talked from one sheet to another. It tabulated things. It told me the percent of things that were in. It was amazing. That lasted about a month. After the first month, half the teachers filled it out, half of them didn't. I tried to get teachers to do, and then they said, well, I lost the tab, I lost the sheets, or I'm not keeping the tally marks the right way. It was just unmanageable. And all of a sudden, I mean, what I'm doing, I'm trying to get the data for this Piper Gold and the behavior specific praise, but I am now causing my teachers more stress by trying to do this. So we tried every way we can possibly think of to keep track of this, and it just wasn't working. So now, hey, you know what? There are digital tools out there that we can use. But because because I've added stress to the teachers' lives for 2 years, we need to make sure that we're going to do this the right way. And so if you've never gone from paper to a digital platform, this might be this would be my advice to do this. So the way that we did it is we actually formed a little team, a little committee to start researching. And so we had Live School and a few other companies come tell us about their program. We fell in love with Live School because we liked it because of the ease of the program, and it didn't look too elementary, where we figured, hey, you know what? If secondary wants to get involved in this, we feel like it works for them too. We felt like this actually worked for a K through 12 program. So we tried it out. We had one teacher per team that was going to try this thing out. We added a specialist teacher because we wanted to find out, how does this work when you actually are a teacher of 25 different classrooms and you have 600 kids? How does that going to work? Like, that's going to be different than a regular classroom teacher. We also had an interventionist try it out, and we had a counselor try it out. And so that was all part of the committee. We had them run it for a few months, just them, and then we gathered information back up. And so I would be leading that committee meeting. So I talked about what worked and what didn't. The way that we have the domains actually got confusing, so we switched up how we did the domains. We worked out all the kinks, and we got it all taken care of. And our teachers were telling me, this is the easiest way to do it. This is even easier than handing out the gold. This was great. And the other thing they found out our kids loved it is when the teacher just was doing it on their phone, they made sure they had the volume up for this. Every time somebody gets gold, you hear this ding, and the kids love that. They thought it was awesome. They love the sound. So the kids were buying into it. The teacher said, hey, this is really simple. And I was getting all the data that I needed to help run our committee. And so we were able to have great discussions about behavior specific praise and what's happening in our buildings. If we have for instance, if we had a week where we are seeing a lot of behavior problems in the restroom, I could go straight to my live school and find out, well, how much are we're not giving praise for restroom behavior. Let's work on that. Let's make that a focus this week, and let's see if we can turn those behaviors around. We all of a sudden started having those conversations. So then the following year, that committee actually led the professional development at the beginning of the school year to show everybody how to use Live School. And then we started kicking it off that year, and people loved it. Even the teachers who are not the most tech savvy teachers, who were kind of scared of technology, they actually found it pretty simple to use. They got the hang of it very, very quickly right out of the gate. And so we became live school was the only thing we were using. And so it really, really worked out well at the beginning of the year. So that's how we started our live school jersey. We went from paper to Google form to spreadsheets. And then finally we found live school, and man, it has made a world of difference. So you can see the data that we have up here. This is Jordan actually pulled our live data from about a week ago. So this graph right here shows you how much gold that we at Piper Creek have been handing out every single week for the whole school year. This is kind of interesting for us to know, because we talk about this as a staff about where are our highs and lows and what is actually happening. So first of all, the valleys that you see down below are just to let you know what those are, so you don't think that, hey, our teachers are slacking right here. The ones that hit 0 in November, well, that's Thanksgiving break. December, that's Christmas break. In March, that's spring break. The other two valleys that are low, the one in October, the one in February, those are 2-day weeks because of parent-teacher conferences. So you're only getting live school points for 2 days. Right in the middle there, you can see how consistent we've kind of been. Our teachers have been all throughout the school year. But then let's talk about the peaks. The peaks are very, very interesting, because the peaks are right before, or the week before, we're about to have our pirate ship set sail. And our pirate ship is what we have for rewards. So about every 6 weeks, we have our pirate ship set sail, and that's where kids can buy things with their live school points. So those peaks that you see are, hey, we had just announced the pirate ship's going to set sail, and so for that week, kids were going all out to get as many live school points as they possibly can, so they can. And so we're talking about that as a staff to find out, do we need to have the pirate ship set sail a little bit earlier, or more often, or whatever. But that's what those peaks are, because that's where kids are really, really going for that. But we just like how this is the kind of data that we can now see, and we can also break it down to find out, is it happening in the classroom? Is it happening in the restroom? Is it happening in the playground? Our cafeteria, we have our lunch monitors, our classified staff, they actually hand out more, we call it Piper Gold. Sorry, I keep going back and forth between Piper Gold and live school points. We call them Piper Gold. But our lunch monitors are actually handing out more Piper Gold than anybody else in our building, because they are giving so much positive behavior praise in the lunchroom. As you know how chaotic a lunchroom can be, and that is where we're getting actually most of our points. It's awesome. So we have every adult in our building has a live school account, so everybody can be handing out points. Okay, so this is the kind of data that we can see. We wanted a 5-to-1 ratio, and right now we're sitting at 130-to-1, so that's actually pretty good. The demerits are something really important that I want to talk about. You see that we do have we have 2,000 demerits listed right there. I love how live school gives you the option. They give you 2 different options for the demerits, and that is, you can have them subtract points when you give a demerit, or you can have it not subtract points. And what we use it is, we decided that once a student earns points, we're not taking those away. And I love how live school gave us that option to do that. It was, we're going to let the kids keep the points, but the demerits can be used as a great way to communicate to parents that, hey, this is the kind of the issues that we had during class today, and here's what happened. You can write a little comment as to why they got a demerit, but it doesn't subtract from their points, but it's a great communication tool to parents. Parents are always asking, wait, how did my kid's day go? This is a great way to communicate with them on a daily basis. Okay, so now let's talk about the rewards thing, because unless you have great rewards, the live school, it can kind of break down from there. So you have to have great rewards. So some of the reward ideas that we came up with, at the very beginning, it was just trinkets. Like, we would just we would have things donated to us, or we'd go out and buy some things, but we'd buy some just for that one time, and then we'd kind of analyze what do kids like, what do they don't like. So every time we had the pirate ship set sail, we would just buy trinkets that they would like more. At our old school, we had this glass cabinet that we used to keep like old trophies and stuff in. Well, we got rid of all that and we started putting the trinkets in that glass cabinet. I started referring to that as our Chuck E. Cheese cabinet, because every time kids would walk by, it was right in the front of the building. They could see all the cool stuff that they could buy with their live school points. And so it was fantastic. So we started out with that, but then we started noticing that, hey, we can start doing experiences. And so we started doing, hey, you know what, for 100 points, you could have lunch with the counselors or lunch with the principals. And lunch with counselors went over so well that we started adding lunch with principals. And then this is where I messed things up, because I was so excited for the first kid to buy lunch with me that I said, what do you want? And he said, well, I want McDonald's. I said, you got it, buddy. And so I went out and bought him lunch. And so kids started getting, the word started coming around. And so now every time that people wanted lunch with people, they expected to have like Chick-fil-A and Culver's and great things like that, which, hey, I was all about that, but it started getting a little bit pricey. But that's where fine dining with the principal came in. So now when people choose fine dining, we actually do go out and get lunch for them, and we sit it down. And our principal here at Piper Creek was awesome. She has fancy tablecloths and nice table setting and a nice glasses that you pour your drink into, and we have a fine dining experience. And so we up the price of that, but that's something that kids love to have. Junior deputy, they get to help the SRO and help walk around the school and be, help keep the building safe and check all the doors, and they love that. Laser cutter project time is they go to our tech teacher, and our tech teacher helps them with the laser cutter. They get to design something on the laser cutter or 3D printer and get to make something in their own time. Counselor game time is one of them. We have be a secretary time. We just had two kids be a secretary last week, and they thought it was cool. They got to spend 20 minutes shredding things, and oh my goodness, they fell in love with that. That was so awesome. And then we had our middle school just adopted live school for the first time this year because they liked it so much, and they started coming up with their own reward system because middle schoolers are a little bit more difficult to engage in, so they had to come up with some great things. And so one of the rules they have this year is in order to attend games like basketball games, football games, or not dances, but basketball games and football games, that you have to come with an adult unless you buy your ticket with live school points. And so as live school points, you can buy a ticket to actually go to the game without an adult presence. And so the kids really like that. They want to go with their friends. And so they're able to buy that. They have a seating chart at lunchtime, but if for like 75 points, they could buy lunch with their friends one day where they can go sit with their friends and lunch instead of having to sit in their assigned seat. That's a cool thing. They also started this thing this year where they found out that, hey, students who have a lot of tardies, once they hit a certain number of tardies, they get like an after-school detention. But in place of that after-school detention, they could buy back a tardy with live school points. And so it was a great way just for kids. But the idea for the middle school was just they had to find ways, like things that their students really, really wanted to buy. And so they listened to their students. They had their student council listen to their students, and they started coming up with all these awesome ideas and ways to use their live school points. Buying tickets to games and dances is hugely popular. Like they love that as a way to use their live school points. And they also have a pirate ship that, they also have little trinkets that they can buy during lunchtime, because even though they're middle school kids, they still like to buy stuff because, stuff is cool. So they really like that. But find the rewards that your kids really, really like and listen to them, and get advice. If you want to know what kids will want to spend money on, ask them. And they will tell you, because our middle school people have come up with some awesome, awesome ideas for rewards, and it's really, really working there. I have a middle school student myself. He's in 8th grade, and loves the reward system that they have in place. They're really loving live school. So that's been kind of our story as to how we've started going with live school, and what we've seen. We've seen some good things happen after we've adopted it. We've seen kind of an improved school culture. We see kids, they're really positive. Not that they were hugely negative before. We have awesome kids here, but they really, really buy into the live school point system. They really enjoy trying to get those points. They love pirate ship time. That's one of the most exciting days of the quarter when they get to come buy things. They love the experiences. And I don't know, just selfishly, the fine dining with the principal is a great way for me to spend 25 minutes just one-on-one with the students. Actually, last time I did it, we had two of them that they were two friends. They wanted to have lunch together. And so we spent the time, we had Chick-fil-A and talked about video games for 25 minutes. And it was so much fun. It was awesome. It's just that great one-on-one time that normally in a busy day we don't get. We have seen a decrease in the number of office referrals. That students they want that positive behavior. They want that note that reassurance that they're doing what's right. And so we do have less referrals than we used to have, which is a great thing for everybody. The data is always available. I mean, with a click of a button, I analyze the data every Monday morning. I come in a little bit early, and that's what the first thing I do every Monday morning is I look at the live school data for all three of the buildings that we have using live school. So that's one of the things I do. But the best thing of it, I was a teacher for 14 years. I remember how all the things that we had to do, and there's no time in the day. I can't add one more thing on my plate. I mean, your teachers say that all the time, and they're absolutely right. Try your best not to add anything else to their plate. This is no extra work for teachers. It is literally just you click the kid's name, you click the domain, done. You can add things for one kid at a time. You can add things for multiple kids at a time. You can add things for the whole class at a time. It really is click of a button. It works on their phones. It works on their iPads. It works on their Chromebooks, anything. And so it's no extra work for teachers. And it's been a great program for us. And so we've loved it. It was a journey getting here, but it has been so amazingly worth it. We love the system here.
We have a few questions if you
All
are.
right, great. Yes.
So one question that we had is you're talking all about this data that seems, it's so valuable to you. Are your students, parents, guardians, their adults, are they able to see the data?
Yes.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the year at Meet the Teacher Night is live school. Actually, one of the things you can print out is you can print out the parent codes
Okay.
that instruct the parents. So we hand those out to individual parents at Meet the Teacher Night before the school year starts. And that gives the parents instructions. They can download the Live School for Parents app. They have a certain code they log in to start their account. And so they can log in and see how many points they're getting, how many points are, how many demerits they have. They can see any comments that are put in there. And so, yeah, parents have access to everything that you put in.
And what has their reaction been like to that? Have
Oh,
they been has that made things more engaging for them? What is,
yeah, they've loved it. They
okay,
love the engagement because now they don't have to take their time to email the teacher to say, "Hey, how did my kid's day go?" They know
right,
how the day went.
right.
They have that access right there. So it really has helped communication between parent and teacher quite a bit.
Awesome. Another question that we have, and I know you briefly touched on this, you mentioned respect, things like that, but how did you determine what students earn points for?
Okay, so we looked at our district behavior matrix. That's what we decided to do. We decided that, and that was actually our problem at the very beginning because when we first tried it with the pilot thing, we tried to come up with a list of, okay, what are all the things that kids can do? And we started coming up with all the actions, and it became unmanageable because then teachers were like, well, I had a kid do this and I gave him points and it's not on the list. And so we had to constantly add things onto the list. And by the end, the list was like 40 things long. This is ridiculous. So we just went to our district behavior matrix. And so our behavior matrix is be respectful, be responsible, be safe.
Mhm.
And then we have so it's just those three things. And then we have all the locations. We have 8 different locations of classroom, hallway, restroom, playground, cafeteria, arrival, dismissal, assembly. I think that's 8 of them. Yeah, that's anyway. So we just decided to do that. And that makes it so simple for our teachers to do. So we just went through our district documentation.
Okay. And then was there a specific way that you communicated these expectations with your students, with your teachers? Did you do anything special when it came to that?
Yeah, so that's great. So at the beginning of every year is we have at the K through 2 building and the 3 through 5 building, we have what are called expectation stations. And so
Okay.
at the beginning of the year, we talk about, hey, in the classroom, what does it mean to be respectful, responsible, and safe? Then the teachers would walk them down to the cafeteria. So during lunchtime, what does it mean to be respectful, responsible, safe? Out on the playground during recess, what does that mean? What does that look like? In the hallway, what does that look like? And so that's what our teachers spend a lot of time doing those first couple of days of school is walking through all the domains and saying, here's our expectations. And of course, you do have to review them every once in a while during the year. Like,
Of
hey, in
course.
January, it's always nice to go through those cafeteria expectations again, because that's one place that things get a little bit lax. And so, yes, we make sure that we go over all those, but those are our natural school rules anyway that we were always doing. And so we just tied that directly into live school to make it simple.
That's awesome. That
Yep.
is, and I'm assuming, of course, in the cafeteria, that's going to look different than in the classroom. It's going to look different than on the
Absolutely.
playground. And so having that clear expectations that's reinforced and it's consistent across the school building, all the teachers are aligned. That probably leads to a lot of success that you've seen.
Correct.
So we have about 3 to 4 minutes left. Are there any other questions that Jason can answer for you? I'll give it a second.
Okay.
You did such a phenomenal job during your presentation. You touched on everything. So if there aren't any other questions, Jason, I want to thank you. I want to thank all of the attendees so much for joining us. This was beyond helpful. Just I even learned more, and you and I have spoken so many times, just learning about your transition, you know, what you've learned from, how you've grown from it. So I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. Like I mentioned, this recording will be sent out to everyone. You can also find it on our YouTube and on our website. And if you have any questions at all or need anything, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Jason, and we would be more than happy to help. So if there aren't any other questions, have an awesome Tuesday, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.